Layer masking is the key to compositing and other important workflows in Photoshop. Once you understand how a layer mask works, you'll be able to combine layers, remove backgrounds, edit part of a photo, and lots more. And you'll be able to do all that non-destructively, which means that you won't be making permanent changes to your image. You'll have lots of editing flexibility to go back and change your mind about any of your edits. I think the best way for you as a new user to understand layer masking is to brush on a layer mask yourself and observe the effect. So please work along with me for this movie for sure. In this image, we have two layers. We have a woman with this orange wall on the top layer, and on the bottom layer, we have these flowers. What we want to do is to hide part of the woman layer over here so we can see down to the flowers on the layer below. Now you might be thinking, well, why not just select and delete that area? Or why not get the eraser tool and erase it? And the reason is that that would be making permanent changes. So let's say you did 30 more things to this image. If you wanted to bring a deleted or erased area back into view, you couldn't do it. But if you use a layer mask instead, you can. So let's add a layer mask to the woman layer. In the layers panel, make sure the woman layer is selected, and then go down to the icon that looks like a rectangle with a circle in it, and click, and that adds this thumbnail to the woman layer. The thumbnail represents the layer mask that is on the woman layer. Where a layer mask is white, it shows everything on its layer. So right now, we see everything on the woman layer in the document window. But what if we were to paint with black on this mask? Let's see what happens when we do that. First, make sure that the layer mask thumbnail is selected, not the image thumbnail on the woman layer. And then go over to the toolbar and take a look at the foreground and background colors at the bottom of the bar. Here, you want black to be the foreground color, not white. If you don't have black as the foreground color, then do this. First, press D on your keyboard. D is for default, and it will set the colors to their defaults of white foreground and black background. And then switch those colors by pressing X on the keyboard. Great, now black is the foreground color. In the toolbar, select the brush tool, and then just click and drag on the image. Now you're really painting on the layer mask, not on the image, because the layer mask thumbnail is selected over there in the layers panel. Notice that everywhere I painted with black, the wall disappeared from view, and we can see down through to the flowers on the layer below. If I show you the mask, and this is optional, but you can option or alt-click that layer mask thumbnail, and it will show you the mask in the document window. If you look at the mask, you'll see that wherever I painted with black over here corresponds to the part of the woman layer that's hidden from view. And wherever there's white on the mask, the woman layer is not hidden from view. In between the two, there's a little bit of gray that's caused by the soft edges of my brush. And where a layer mask is gray, you can partially see through it. Let's go back to the regular view by option or alt-clicking the layer mask thumbnail again. And let's finish up the job of masking out this side of the image. I'm just going to click and drag with black over all the parts of the orange wall that I want to hide from view. Remember that if you make a mistake and you happen to paint over here, for example, you can always bring that hidden area back into view by painting over it with white on the mask. So I'm going to switch my foreground and background colors by pressing X on the keyboard. Now I have white as my foreground color, and I can paint over her face, bringing it all back into view. And right here, I'd like to partially see through so I can sort of see some hair on the woman layer, but also see some of the flowers below. So I'm going to paint with gray. A quick way to paint with gray is to just lower the opacity of your brush. That's done up here in the options bar. So I'm going to set my brush to 40%. I need my foreground color to be black. So again, I'll press X on the keyboard, and then I'll paint over this hair area. And the paint is gray on the layer mask. You can see that if I show you the layer mask again, right in this area. So that's layer masking in a nutshell. It's basically a matter of telling Photoshop what you want to see and not see on a layer by painting with black white, and gray on a layer mask. And we'll be doing a lot more of that in this chapter, so stay tuned.